Silence, tunaanza. Wangogi. Aya. You're watching a special edition of the Mashujaa Day celebrations coverage from county number 20 in Kirinyaga County, where we are camping until the actual day on Wednesday, when President Uhuru Kenyatta will be leading the ceremony here from the county of Kirinyaga. And we're going to be discussing more with the County Governor, Anne Mombe Waiguru, who was in the company of the President, first in the county of Nyeri, where the President was received at the Sagana State Lodge before he toured the county of Kirinyaga to inspect development projects in the company of the local leadership here in the county of Kirinyaga. The Governor, Anne Mombe Waiguru, was also in the company of the President in Kirinyaga County. Also present was the Interior and National Government Coordination Principal Secretary, Dr. Karanja Kibisho, and the County Women MP, Purity Ingirishi. We'll talk about the county government's investment in healthcare, infrastructure, and also in other sectors, noting that Kirinyaga County is an agrarian county, not forgetting local politics, the preparations, COVID-19 vaccination program by the county, and also the security that has been heightened in Mwea constituency, the area where the event will be happening on Wednesday, when the President will be leading the nation for the 58th time since Kenya gained independence in 1963. Vast array of issues await the President, including the Pandora Papers and the coronavirus pandemic, the measures put in place by the government ever since March 2020, when the first case of the pandemic was recorded. Not forgetting the choice of the county, Kirinyaga County, county number 20, and the day will be on the 20th of October 2021. We discussed that with the County Governor, who is in my company from location in Kirinyaga County, and Her Excellency Governor Anne Mombe Waiguru. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
It must have been a tight schedule, first receiving the President in Nyeri County, then in your home county, where he inspected various government projects. But first, let's begin with the most important aspects of what your county government or the county that you had has accomplished in terms of healthcare, infrastructure, and also noting that this is an agrarian county. What are some of the accomplishments that you can highlight, which perhaps will feature as the topmost accomplishments that you have made since 2017?
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you for coming to Kirinyaga. Welcome, and feel at home.
Asante.
In terms of the achievements that we have made, and especially in healthcare, we aligned our development agenda to His Excellency the President's Big Four agenda, and we started in the first year by starting to improve our infrastructure, because our infrastructure was not in a very good state. And so in the first year, we added wards in various hospitals. In Baricho, we did a male ward. In Kimbembe, we did our women's ward. In Kenyaga, a maternity, Sangariama maternity. And in Sagana, we did an X-ray center, and that touched all the constituencies. In the second year, we put significant resources in upgrading our level 4 hospital. And we started both with external structures that could be separate, and then we built a multi-level 5-story ultra-modern hospital, which is just in the process of being completed in the next 1 month or so. And in this hospital, we are going to be adding the bed capacity, increasing the bed capacity by over 350. We will have a HDU and an ICU that we didn't have before in Kirinyaga. We used to rely on other counties. We have a special burns unit, an oncology center, and that will be in addition to what we've done. We have a renal unit that has 8 beds and caters for about 40 patients in a week, providing dialysis. The special eye unit, which we got courtesy of development partners, gives services to Kirinyaga people by providing operations between 12 and 15 per day, cataract for free. And that's just in healthcare. We've also increased the amount of money that we put in the health sector, both in terms of increasing the number of personnel, but also, in addition to personnel, increasing the amount of medicine. In fact, tomorrow I'll be receiving the new batch of medicine to run for the next 6 months to make sure that our services are efficient. We're training our people, we're digitizing, And in healthcare, I think we've made tremendous strides in getting our county where it's supposed to be. I think we will be, in very short period of time, probably the case study to be studied by other counties on how to improve the health sector.
Okay, okay, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
In agriculture, you mentioned a question on agriculture. We are basically a rural community, and majority of our residents are farmers, and mostly relying on the Moya side, rice production, and on the upper side, tea and coffee. And you know, there's been very many challenges with regard to prices of coffee and prices of tea. And for the last 10 to 15 years, our farmers have really been suffering in terms of the output. In fact, many of them had resorted to uprooting their tea and their coffee and going into real estate and doing infrastructure that they think that would earn them a little bit more money. Right. So what we've done is that we started a program called Wezesha Kirinyaga, which was basically supporting the farmer at a lower level to increase their income and the amount of money that they have in their pockets, and then therefore shield them from the price fluctuations that come because of either seasons or international market issues. And in Wezesha program, we have mainly 4 value chains, but we have another 4 that we have just added because of the interest of mostly the farmers and the young people. Tomato, dairy, poultry, and avocado. And then we also have others such as pig farming. We give pigs and fish farming as well as part of the support that we give. We supported over 470 groups, touching over 50,000 households, also giving AIE services across the county, and increasing some of these groups, their income by over 1,000 shillings a day in every household. And that's significant. It may sound very small to people out there, but when you come to the rural areas where they wait for 3-4 months before you get any earnings from what you have planted, 1,000 shillings a day is quite significant.
Thank you. And whilst you have provided that assessment generally, in January, the Control of Budget Margaret Nyakango did point out that only the counties of Migori, Tana River, and Kirinyaga have met their own revenue targets. And in this case, your county had managed to collect 90 million Kenya shillings, Migori 60.3 million, and Tana River a paltry 19 million. Generally, the on-source revenue across the devolved units had dipped from 7.7 billion to 5.9 billion. As a technocrat, in terms of getting this scorecard of the devolved system of governance, 9 years since the process started in 2013, is this a cause for worry?
I think generally I wouldn't say that, because you know that we've been going through very serious challenges in the last 2 years. One being mostly caused by the COVID-19, and the COVID-19 has affected businesses. The issues of curfew and also just the health problems that we've had out there, economies have dipped. And with economies dipping, then the expenditure, the money that is there at the disposal of every individual goes down. And the less they spend, the slower the economy is. And the slower the economy is, the less revenue you collect. And so I wouldn't really blame devolution for that. I think that this challenge is not unique to devolved counties. It is also a challenge that the national government is encountering. We have less income to spend. Disposable income is very little to spend on anything that is not a necessity. And even that money for necessity is actually not there because of the challenges mostly of COVID-19, but also the international economic sort of slowdown or slump. So I think that's the reason mainly that most counties haven't met their revenue targets. But on our side in Kirinyaga, we just went a step further to make sure that we're automating and pushing to ensure that we are increasing our efficiencies in terms of collection. And we're very glad that we are now amongst those that are meeting their revenue targets, and we hope that this is a sign of good things to come as we move forward. Really good news.
Okay, yeah. And whilst you have perhaps cited the coronavirus pandemic, which has been literally, or rather shattered global economy, and that has been very present since the first case was confirmed in the Chinese city of Wuhan in Hubei province. However, the Office of the Controller of Budget does cite financial underperformance, which has been very consistent since 2014-2015 financial year. So COVID-19 was first recorded, the first case was in March 2020. And whilst you feature amongst the top 3 counties, would you then perhaps tie it to the aspect about financial prudence that ought to be happening across the devolved system of governance, which is key, and as per what you have mentioned, to even boost the national economy?
Yes, I think, as I said, we have put measures in the county to make sure that we have made this achievement. And whereas we have different counties in different places, I think also it helps that some of us have had a financial background, and therefore you are able to see where the gaps are and be able to uniquely adjust your revenue collection targets to your own unique situation. Kirinyaga is a small county. Okay. And I would also say that many counties have different challenges depending on what it is that they focus on. Those which are commercial, there are some which are cities and have different challenges than those ones that we have. As a matter of fact, despite our good performance, okay, I actually lost a significant amount of my revenue because of a court case which had been put in by the Bar Owner Association wanting for us to completely scrap the levies that they pay. And so I think financial prudence is important. Okay. Efficiency is also more important, okay, but also more than anything is to understand the uniqueness of your county and increasing general productivity and activity and ensuring that then you're able to collect a lot more revenue. Okay.
Governor, we are due for a break. We are due for a break. When we come back, however, we talk about the all-important event that will be coming your way in under 48 hours' time from the county of Kirinyaga. The president will be here. He was here today. He will be spending his night within the county of Kirinyaga. And the most important element is the choice of Kirinyaga, county number 20, and the day is on the 20th of October 2021. The Kenyatta succession is hot as ahead of 2022 general election, and whether President Uhuru Kenyatta will perhaps be doing a replica of what his political godfather Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi did in 2002, or otherwise what happened in 1978 in the race to succeed Kenyatta one happened, and whether that is going to be a reflection of the 2022 political contest is going to be a focus of our discussion. The preparation ahead of the day itself, the COVID-19 vaccination by the county government, and what Governor Anne Mombe Waiguru will be seeing as an accomplishment of her administration from the county of Kirinyaga. 21322 is the short SMS code, and we are live from Kirinyaga County for this special coverage of the Mashujaa Day celebrations, and we are back with more after the break with Governor Anne Mombe Waiguru. Welcome back. You're watching the special coverage of the Mashujaa Day celebration coming to you live from the county of Kirinyaga. That is county number 20, and we have the host governor, Anne Mombe Waiguru, who today was in the company of the president from the county of Nyeri to Kirinyaga County, where he inspected development projects in the county. And Governor, we talked about the development aspect and the investment the county has made in health infrastructure, and noteworthy that this county is an agrarian county. Let's now come to the preparation aspect. And in an interview recently, you said that you have not been wholly part of the preparation process of this special event that will be happening in your home county. Why do you think you have been sidelined?
I wouldn't say that I have been sidelined. I think what I said is that I have not been the one choosing who goes into the stadium. And that, they explained to me, is because it's a national government event, you know. So I do not control the audience in the stadium. However, in terms of preparation, there's been the rules that have been carried out in the national government and the rules that have been carried out by the county government, and in that we've been collaborating. I think the only thing that we want fully involved is on who is going to be inside the stadium. So we have no control whatsoever, other than a few people that we were given cards for.
Okay, mentioning that then, there's also the aspect of the county politics. And before I come to the political parties dynamics, because you are a Jubilee Party member that was formed in 2016, and perhaps with the promise of ending ethnic balkanization in the country, a party with a national outlook, and you cited KANU in one of your recent interviews. But of utmost importance, you said that local political dynamics should not override the political priority, which is overwhelming, of the national event. At any given time, were you worried that whatever plays out in Kirinyaga County was likely to muddy the national event that the president will be presiding over?
Yes, I think all of us, as both political leaders and technocrats from the county, have been concerned, because this county is pretty small, but I'm sure you know it's pretty loud. You know, we are in the media almost every day for one thing or other. And it was possible that if we did not come together and manage that situation, that we could have had some uncivil, let's say, behaviors by maybe people seeking to outdo each other for political reasons. And so we have made it very clear that this is a national event, and I think even the president made it very clear today. He knows that this county can be very politically volatile, but he said it's a national event. Can we focus on the national event? And after the 20th, we will pick up on our local politics. Yeah. And
you said, to be specific, the continuity of local politics is after Mashujaa Day.
Yes. And
you underscored that your overwhelming political priority is your election in 2022. And it's the people who accord the mandate in any given jurisdiction and a democracy. What direction do you think the people want you to go?
In terms of direction, I think the Kirinyaga people are very confident about my delivery record, the projects that we have done. They're visible, they can be seen, they can be hidden. Everything I've talked about in health, they can see the 19 health centers, they can see the 34 ECDs, they can see the 11 markets that I've built in almost every sub-county. And so they want a continuation of that so that we can finish that which we have started. Finish the hospital, finish equipping it and take it up and running, and also upgrade the level 4 hospitals of Kimbimbi and Kenyaga. And so they want me to run again. The conversation that I have had with people, they are asking, please run again, we re-elect you for a second term so that you can finish that which you started. That is on the local political side. Of course, there's a few people who tell you, no, I think you should go for national. But more often than not, within the county, the sentiments are to go for re-election.
And talking about that then, it's the political party that enables you to be accorded power. And you most importantly mentioned the aspect of the political party influence in central Kenya politics. And you mentioned the United Democratic Alliance. In the same also interview, you also cited President Uhuru Kenyatta as having the utmost political clout in terms of being the key man to the central Kenya politics. How do you balance UDA having influence in a county like yours that you govern as the county, and the president who on the other end you said is still reigns as the gateway to the House of Mombe?
It's a delicate balance, but I think it will all fall in place, if you ask me. I think it's early days. We still haven't had the official bell ring in terms of campaigns. And he also has not pronounced himself entirely on which direction the country or the mountain takes. And then, therefore, we'll be able to assess the impact of that pronouncement. However, as I said, that at this point in time, if you listen to especially the younger generation, they will tend to talk about the UDA party. But as people are asking, is it a matter of time? We are waiting to see. And I was very clear. I said, in introspection, and I said, I'm listening to the ground. Because eventually they will tell you. Because when you listen, it is easier. It makes it easier for you to get there. And a day in politics is a very long time. I mean, one day in politics can change a whole lot. There will probably be coalitions and agreements and concessions and handshakes. You know, who knows what will happen even on Mashujaa Day. And I believe that Mashujaa Day will be a huge turning point for this country. I think whatever pronouncement will be made there, especially by His Excellency the President, will set the tone on how the politics will be in Mount Kenya region and in the country at large.
Okay, and when you mentioned UDA party, what automatically in political terms comes to mind is the deputy president, who you said he has been in touch with the people, he has been present, and you look at the very demography in terms of our voters register, their alliance share of that is made up by the young people who are often connected, knowledgeable, they are young, mobile, and are technologically savvy. And you said whilst he was doing that, the connection bit politically, the others were busy in terms of advocating for the Building Bridges initiative, now punctured by the courts of law in the country. And you inquired from the people as to which political party you would want them to prioritize. And in positive response, they said UDA party, but you decidedly remain vague. If that is the direction in under 10 months' time, a day in politics is long, will it be UDA?
I'll listen to the people. I'll listen to the people because ultimately they're the ones who decide whether you get re-elected or not. And in that one place where I went and the second place I've gone in that region, they strongly said UDA. But the county is big, so we're still going around, we're still listening. And we are looking at the poll numbers, we are consulting, and also watching the dynamics and seeing where is the easiest place to run so that it is not as difficult, and also a party where you can also belong. So there are very many dynamics that you're assessing, I'm assessing, and I am that kind of person. My personality is one that is reflective. I just will not do things and not sit back and think, why is it that this is the sort of outcome that we have had? And I think it is easier considering what politics is in this country. And let me say this. All our parties, if you look at them, they're usually formed around the election time, season. And there's not that significant difference between one party's ideology and the other. And I think that's what I was referring to. I said, you'll kind of see the same people who have moved from one party to another or from one coalition to another. And the only major thing that really changes is who is the head and the positioning of those people. But the ideology is basically the same, and the things that they advocate for is basically the same. So it's not so much an issue of principle. It is an issue of alignment so that it's an easier journey for you also to govern. Because in politics, we say all politics is local, and the important thing is to be in office so that you can be able to make a change. You are of no use to the people of Kirinyaga when you're out, because if you don't get a seat, then you cannot finish that hospital. You cannot be able to, whatever it is you think you should be able to deliver for the people, you will not be able to do that when you're out.
Do you then attribute perhaps the current political problem in the country to personalization of parties?
I think so. I think a huge part is that. I think we haven't defined our ideologies and culture to ensure that we stick to certain political leanings, you know, whether you say that this party is a social democrat party or this is for mostly an economic or a liberal party. We don't have that. We have a mix of everything. In every manifesto, you will find a small aspect of each one of those things. And it's very different from how it was in 1992, where this country was clamoring for
multi-party
democracy. And so therefore the reformists, the pro-reformists, were pushing for an allowance or space for there to be free choice and have a multiple number of parties where people sell ideologies based on those leanings. And they started off well. But as time progressed, by the time we got to 2007, we thought, okay, this didn't work. Our problem was the constitution. And we started clamoring for a constitutional change. And through 2005, during the referendum at that time, 2007, coming all the way to 2010, we got a new constitution. And then now we have a constitution and have been implementing it for the last 10 years. And we still have not say matured in our democracy, so to speak, where parties actually are outlive political party leaders. So we have 1,000 people out there, everyone wanting to have their own party. Yeah. And recently someone walked up to me and said, no, I think you should get your own party, and I have a party that I can offer you so that you can run. And I said, you see, this is really the problem in this country. We can't get together. So if you ask, like, for example, in Mount Kenya, I think we probably have more than 10 parties, yeah, with different people, you know, and all of them, if you read their manifestos, they're not that entirely different. So, yeah, that's my view on...
And you are, just a quick one before we proceed to the House of Mombe politics. You are a Jubilee Party member, and you remember the color and the pomp around its formation in 2016, to the extent of even saying or sending officials to the Communist Party of China to copy its model. And the Chinese Communist Party just recently celebrated its centenary since 1921. You look at the CCM, Chama cha Mapinduzi, in Tanzania, though Tanzanians are still struggling to loosen the government's grip on what they hear, see, and read in terms of democratic space. You look at the ANC party in South Africa. It's the party that kicked its own president out, Jacob Zuma, who is now facing corruption trial. Why then do you think the Jubilee Party's political oomph has evaporated so very fast in under 5 years' time?
I said this, and I said that I think we started off well. I think it was brilliantly conceived. I think the issue of the structures that we had were excellent, but I think that we did not institutionalize democracy within the party. And so what happened is that we couldn't quite find a balance between the political class and the technocrats who are running the party. And that imbalance then therefore brought some confrontations and fallouts. And already we were having jitters and problems, and then there was now this issue between the president and the deputy president. And then now, once that happened, then political class took sides, and here we are. So it's very unfortunate, but we hope that something can be done. We've been saying that we need to revamp this party. We've been saying many people don't like to hear the truth. I think many people are not used to having conversations. People think that if you are a supporter of the president, for example, that you should never say anything that is not necessarily, for example, right with the party. They think that that is defiance. Well, but that is democracy, you know, being able to speak your mind, having a different view, because different views are what gives us growth. You listen to ideas, you're told this party is not doing very well because I think we need to change one or two aspects of the way we are managing this aspect and this aspect. And if that probably happened, and I'm not talking about my voice, I'm talking about the various people who've talked about it, maybe we would have been at a different place. But there is still time, as I said.
And perhaps why, if you look at the political dynamics of the UK, many members of the Tory party, the Conservatives, have perhaps oppose the Prime Minister Boris Johnson with the European or the United Kingdom before it left the European Union. Let's come to one final aspect, and we are literally at the heart of central Kenya politics. And Kirinyaga, when you mentioned that you have a very deep history in post-independence Kenya, and the President, while in Bole International Airport in Ethiopia, addressed the Pandora aspect, which he said he will comprehensively respond to. And then whilst still in New York, the ICJ matter, the sea border aspect ruling was made by the ICJ. And then he has a full plate of other issues to address in central Kenya region. Let me come to this. How will he address the mishmash in terms of the mixed political signals from the House of Mumbi when he takes to the podium, perhaps in Kirinyaga County on the 20th of October 2021?
Let me say this. I think, in my view, I think you don't become president because you're just anybody. I think His Excellency the President is an astute politician. He knows very well that he has a serious obligation to the House of Mumbi, as you speak, to give direction, and also to ensure that also the country, his own succession, is managed properly and that there's a smooth transition. And I know these things are weighing on his mind, and in addition to matters development, because he has to consolidate also his legacy. He has his Big Four agenda, and there's those things that he has lined up that he must close. And at the same time, leaving this country with a sense of hope. I think he wants to make sure that he leaves it at a much better place than where he found it. Okay. And so we're waiting to hear. I think, considering this is the last Mashujade in his term, and that he chose Kirinyaga County, I must say we are privileged, we're extremely honored as Kirinyaga County that he chose us. We're a very small county, as I said. We didn't even have a stadium. It was built to host also this event. It will be the first thing that actually is done on in that stadium. So we are very, very honored. And a lot of development and infrastructure has accompanied this whole Mashujade feat. And we are all waiting to hear what it is that he will say. Okay. And then thereafter, we will see how that resonates with the people. But he's very humane. He connects with people very easily. We watched him today. He's generally liked. And so we will see how he communicates whatever he thinks the direction should be, and how the people take it. You know, you can only make that assessment after see how well it has been received, whether people will actually take it 100%, whether it will be 50, whether it will be 30. That remains to be seen, but we know that he must have a plan. Okay, you worked with him. Yes. And in the 2002 general election, he was handpicked by his political godfather, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, the late, who was laid to rest on the 12th of February 2020. And when you look at President Kibaki, he exited power with perhaps less touch on his succession in 2013. Will he be a Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi or Kibaki? How influential will the president be in under 10 months' time when we go to the polls? There are very different things that determine that. One is those who are in the political race, you know, and their capability, and how they adjust to whatever it is he says. Now, if you have not a very strong team out there campaigning for presidential, then you can attempt to do a handing over like the late Moi did, and say, this is the person I choose, and then the people decide to reject it, you know, depending on, because they have a very strong team out there. But he could also choose the style of Kibaki, and he was a bit silent. I believe that Kibaki did play a role. I just think that he did not do it outwardly. He was not obviously out there. Or wasn't in the limelight. Yes, but I think he plays a role. He played a role because the government always has a role somehow. My view is that based on the reaction to whatever it is he will say on Mashujade that has to do with succession and politics, he will listen to what the reaction of people are, and then he will determine whether to be outright and say this is a person, or show his hand outrightly as he walks around, or just let it be and then support. But any wise leader would be interested in who is succeeding them because of the continuation of projects, for example, that you have started, so that they don't stall. And also your legacy, because it's determined by your successor. I think he will have an interest. How he shows that interest now will really, really be up to him. I personally think he will not be outright. That's my personal view.
Okay.
Yeah.
Governor Anne Mombe Waiguru,
yes.
Thank you for your hospitality.
Thank you.
And company on the broadcast.
Thank you, Abdi. I really appreciate it.
Your time's appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Asante.
And thank you to you too for watching. This is the special coverage of the Mashujaa Day celebration coming to you live from the county of Kirinyaga. We have just taken the account of the county governor Anne Mombe Waiguru ahead of the actual event day in the county of Kirinyaga, where President Uhuru Kenyatta will be presiding over the last Mashujaa Day before his tenure expires in August 2022. The choice of the county, the timing, the vast array of issues that await the president to address, including matters corruption, the lifestyle audit which he said he will embark on, and comprehensively respond to the Pandora Papers leak when he was at the Bole International Airport in Ethiopia, where he attended the inauguration of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, then to the Americas, the New York presser, where he addressed the nation on the ICJ ruling on the Kenya-Somalia border, and then Washington to meet Joe Biden at the White House, where Kenya will play a key role in global affairs, including the forthcoming COP Climate 26 conference in Glasgow in the UK, which is a follow-up of the 2015 event in the French capital, Paris, then midwifed by former French President Francois Hollande. And that is what we all await as we camp in the county of Kirinyaga and give you the coverage, the news, analysis, and interviews. And in under 15 minutes' time, I will be on and up with the 9 p.m. news. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in under 10 minutes.